Corey, in this video, what I want to talk about is identifying and communicating with institutions. Okay? Specifically, I put here in this long-winded, what I call subtitle, find out what they have been buying and what direction they are moving. This is important. We call this the hunt list. When Corey started working with us first, we gave him a list to work with, the hunt list. I have it in my hands. It's the same one. It hasn't changed, and it is great because it's going to be able to make sure that two things happen. Number one, you're providing credibility to the guy on the other side of the phone.
Which is very important.
Which is very important, that he knows that you're not some sort of pinhead that just bought a book for $15, correct?
Correct.
No offense to Corey, but it provides unswerving credibility because he'll know that he'll think that you've been in this business and have more experience than you actually have, and that's fine. There's nothing misleading about that. Whatever you need to do in order to get the relationship going, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You got to think about this as if you're on your best behavior courting your spouse, boyfriend, or girlfriend. That's the way I would put it, right?
Okay.
Spelling is important when sending emails.
Absolutely.
I think we can agree, Corey, that Bill Gates made it almost impossible for people to become bad spellers, correct?
That's correct. A little red underneath those words.
Little red. Write the email. If you have to in a Word document, fix the spelling. If it doesn't make sense, read it, have someone else read it. But everything should be done for you on your Microsoft Word. Every email program, web client has it today. There's no excuse. No excuse whatsoever, okay? So what we're looking at here is the hunt list. And what I want to make sure that you're focused on is that you're being specific. And you know, the joke we have here is if your girlfriend's allergic to shellfish, you're not going to bring her to an oyster bar. If she's vegetarian, you're not going to bring her to Morton's Steakhouse, correct?
Correct.
So don't be a pooflinger, a pooflinger. One of our intermediaries actually coined this term. You know, I don't know how it came up, but it's a pooflinger. It's sort of self-explanatory, isn't it, Corey?
It does, but why are you yelling at me?
I'm not, I'm sorry. I'm talking to them because I want to make sure they get the point across.
Okay.
We're very passionate about this here.
Right.
You know how I am with this, okay?
To relax, yes. This is where I have to get the Zen-like moment.
Zen, I got to take your meditation classes or medication or whatever you call it, okay? Here's the rule when you're working with the hunt list, and this is what 90% of all failures occur from. People are not organized. What I mean by organized is not using Post-its. We've banned those from our office, haven't we? Post-its do not work. If you have Post-its and you're looking for a buyer, for example, who is a REIT, who is buying mortgages in Holland, you're not going to put it on your monitor or your laptop on a yellow Post-it where it's going to fall on the floor, the dog's going to eat it, or something like that.
Correct.
So you want to make sure that you're organized or you'll be sorry.
Yeah,
okay?
I created an Excel spreadsheet, I remember originally. Today's date, who I contacted, their contact information, if they do lend, where did I get that information from, off of their website?
Correct.
Are they currently active or not active? What's in their sweet spot as far as where they're looking for and their lending parameters? Whatever I want to do, I put that down in notes, and if I left a message or a voicemail, I'd write that down as well, follow up in a couple days, and all this is done off of the basic Excel spreadsheet that anyone can create.
And that list is gold, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That list is gold. That list is worth more money to you than you can ever imagine, because that's a relationship going forward that you'll be able to cross trades with.
Mm-hmm.
That's 90% of the battle right there. The deals will come to you. Don't worry about that. But making sure you are direct to good, qualified, institutional buying sources or buyers is what's most important here. Pension funds, REITs, hard money lenders, what else did we discuss? Family offices. Okay, but this is important stuff. This is the real key to generating long-term wealth. All right?
Because it's also important, because then when I do find that deal, and let's say I had a buyer's list of 100 people, I don't want to send out a mass email to 100 of them.
Because then you turn into this guy, right?
Exactly.
Corey
right.
the pooflinger. We don't want that.
Yeah, maybe only 10 of them will fit within their wheelhouse, within their lending parameters. So I'm going to send it specifically to those 10, one by one, and it's going to have their name addressed to it, as opposed to just being a generic email going out to them.
Very good. Now, Corey, you made mistakes in the beginning, correct? We laugh at them today, but everybody makes mistakes. And there's not a single mistake in this business you make that can't be fixed.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I told Corey when he first worked with us. I said, I don't want you to be afraid. I want you to feel as though that the world is your oyster, because there's nothing that you can screw up that I can't fix. Mm-hmm. Except for a few laughs, but that's okay.
Now it's like the other way around.
Now it's the other way around, of course, because I'm getting older and senile, and you're the young buck, even though you're a little older than I am, okay? So I think some of these people want to know, what are some of the questions that we would ask?
Yeah.
And I think that's important for us to communicate to you. Here's some of the things that I pulled off of the sheet that Corey got when he started working with us. In the past 12 months, what has been the average size of the transactions you have purchased? What's the average size? A lot of people fit within the certain segments, okay? I think you're going to find a lot of the buyers, a lot of your REITs, real estate investment trusts that are publicly and privately held are going to be buying stuff that are going to be between 2 and 10 million, some of them. And then you just got to ask them, how big can you go? You're not going to send them a $100 million skyscraper deal in New York City when they're located in the Midwest and they're principally focused on Midwest, smaller, what we call smaller balanced transactions, okay? Another one, as far as purchasing power, what are your minimums and your maximums per transaction? Okay, that's important.
Very important to know.
Very
Absolutely.
important. In meeting your maximum per transaction, is there a percentage that comes from external financing? Now, I like asking this question because that also gives me the opportunity to create another revenue stream by selling them our hard money lending product.
Okay, so repeat the question again.
Well, I have to make this difficult, Courtney. First you're like, stop yelling, now I have to calm down. In meeting your maximum per transaction, okay, your maximum the maximum deal size, is there a percentage that comes from external financing? A lot of these institutions will pay all cash or they will actually get loans. Loans that you can actually sell through us. Isn't that great? Because we are a private commercial capital provider. We provide bridge loans for commercial real estate.
I think that's a great question because number one, I don't know of anybody else asking that question. So that's going to give you that credibility factor right away.
Oh,
and then based upon their answer, I always love it, and I remember when I did sales, is if you didn't know the answer to the question, then there's 2 ways you can do it. You can answer the question you thought they were going to ask you.
Correct.
Or
Yes.
number 2 is you simply answer a question with a question. And so, for example, something like that, they might bounce back, well, why are you asking that? Or what are you looking for? I don't understand. And well, why is that important to you? And going back with them with a question is always a good rebuttal with it.
That is great. Here's some things that relate to demographics. Now, this could offend some people.
Oh,
okay?
shocker.
Okay. When people are investing, they invest in certain demographic areas. Detroit is not considered to be a real estate hotbed today, is it?
I don't know. I've been watching those commercials with Eminem.
It's not. I can tell you that. All right. These are important. What part of the country do you like investing in? What part of the country don't you like investing in? What you're going to find probably is about more than 50% of the institutions you talk to are going to want to invest in the southern part of the United States. Okay?
Why is that?
We call that the Sun Belt because that's the area of higher growth. That's where the population is actually migrating right now. And a lot of companies are moving to Texas, South Carolina because they're just offering incredible tax incentives to move a factory there. When you move a factory, what does that mean? Jobs. Okay? So, and you always see it, whatever in the business journals, you always see Texas and South Carolina neck and neck beating each other up to a pulp to get Boeing to come over or to get someone to come over to their state because that equals jobs.
Right, because it wasn't even just for 2010, 50% of new jobs created came from one state, from the state of Texas.
Okay, God bless Texas. We love Texas. All right. What are some other questions? What are they buying? Do they like buying pooled assets? Do they like buying, what kind of commercial? Commercial, when we talk about the C word, I don't want you to be afraid of that. It's very important, but it's also a very good wealth creator. When we talk about commercial, there's all different types, but a lot of these folks, such as the REITs, the pension funds, the family offices, they're going to be mostly interested in what we call income producing assets, and those are the 4 food groups, right? Office, multifamily, industrial, and retail. Very simple. These are things that throw off cash each month. Land, you're going to find some REITs that are land banking, but at the same time, they're going to be very picky, and I don't think it's going to get you a check really quickly.
Right. Not a lot of opportunities right There's a lot of land, but there's not a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, there's a lot of land. There always will be a lot of land. And people are very picky about the land they buy.
Although, did you see the RE/MAX sign a couple days ago?
No.
By the freeway. It says they're not making any more of it. Like they're the ones who created that slogan to begin with, but I don't really think it's necessarily a slogan you want to use nowadays.
You know, that sold it during the bubble, and that's what got people in a lot of trouble.
Right.
But, you know, let's just focus on what's going to get people paid and successful.
Absolutely.
All right? We don't have to go too deep here. And then also, you know, as far as it relates to the decision-making process, you know, you want to identify, are you the final decision maker? If they were to ask Corey say, no, he has to go to the committee. The committee's made of myself and someone else, for example. You have to find out who your buyer institution, who the decision maker is. The time frame for decisions. If I send you over something today, how soon can you get me an answer as far as your indication of interest? I think that's important to understand.
But every deal needs to close yesterday, though, right?
Every deal needs to close yesterday, and I want to understand that we have never closed a deal on time throughout my career. Never. Even when I was on Wall Street, we never close a deal on time. Because when somebody has a gun to your head, usually something's wrong with the deal. That's a whole separate video right there.
Right.
Okay. The mandatory information. What kind of information do they need in order to make a decision? What do you need to see? Now, the dumb sheeple will do this. They'll take something that they copy and paste from like a website like LoopNet, which is what we're not telling you to go to, but they'll take something like that and they'll just download the investment memorandum and then forward it over. That's not what you do.
No.
Okay, that'll get you spanked, and you don't want to be spanked. Don't be a prooflinger. Find out exactly when you're asking these questions what they want to see so you can hand it to them on a silver platter. Okay. Outsource, their underwriting, and what else do they buy? Do they just buy real estate, or do they buy paper too as well? These are some of the sample questions.
What's the difference between buying real estate and buying paper?
Well, you're buying paper. Paper's a mortgage, correct?
Okay.
So you can buy that paper, that mortgage from, or what we call notes more appropriately, from a bank. That gives you control over the real estate.
So for example, I bought my house and I'm not the official owner because I'm getting a loan.
You're not. You're on title, but you have a lien against it from the bank because if you don't pay, then they'll foreclose and they have the right to take that asset back as their collateral. Okay? A mortgage is an enforceable lien. Okay, if you do not do this, I have the right to remedies, and that's what a mortgage is, okay?
So we have two options then. So they can either buy the actual property or they can potentially then buy the note or the paper.
Correct, and today with REO assets, there's more actually paper out there because of all the litigation that's going on and foreclosure fraud and robo-signing and everything. Really goes beyond the scope of this video, but what I want to communicate to you is that you're going to see a lot of people showing you, once you crank up your marketing machine on the sell side, you're going to see a lot of opportunity to buy paper. Okay? And I don't want you to be scared of that.